Coming up on AgweekTV, the Dakota Access Pipeline protest in western North Dakota is getting international attention. We'll take a look at how it's affecting farmers and ranchers in that area. We'll have advice from some ag economists about making a profit in these tough times. And we'll tell you about a better feed for cattle that's growing in popularity. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Shauna Olson. Protesters have come from around the country to try to stop construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. But they're also causing headaches and even fear for some who live there. Mikkel Pates traveled to western North Dakota to talk to some of the farmers and ranchers in the protest area who are trying to maintain their operations.
Shauna, this historic gathering of environmental and Native American protesters in the Cannonball, North Dakota area has caused some difficulties for farmers and ranchers in the area. Jared Ernst is a rancher near St. Anthony. He's had protesters on his land and his roads, giving him and his cattle a scare.
We were doing some cattle work in a pasture, and there was a group of about 150 come walking by, and when they got close, they started chanting and cheering and beating on drums and spooked the cows, and a group of the cows took off running from the corral where we were working the calves at.
When law officers arrived, it ended peacefully, but he worries for his family's safety and always carries a revolver. He appreciates it when the National Guard soldiers check in, but even when it's peaceful, the protest is still a daily inconvenience.
There's been times where we can't to go to a hayfield or to bring bales home. There'll be protesters on the road where the law enforcement will have the road blocked off just to avoid any confrontation between the protesters and other people. There's been a couple times where instead of driving 10 miles to get to the pasture, we've had to take different roads and ended up being 22 miles to get to the pasture instead of 10, and just a lot of extra miles and a lot of wasted minutes in a day because of it.
It's really changed the lifestyle of this little quiet rural community.
Chad Ellingson and his family also raise Angus cattle near St. Anthony.
It has brought a lot of new people, a lot of people that we're not familiar with, and brought a lot of nervousness to the direct area because of the conflicts between the protesters and the pipeline company.
The pipeline touches their ranch, and like many of their neighbors, they've granted an easement for the pipeline. He's more concerned about the protesters than the pipeline.
I don't want it to become a conflict. I don't want bloodshed or anything to that regard. And I don't think that, hopefully most of the protesters don't want that either.
What bothers you the most about it?
That they're like cutting our fences and going through our property.
Hopefully it can come to a peaceful ending, and the federal government needs to step up and hopefully see this thing through.
Frank Thomas is a grain farmer near Cannonball. He says that the protest is making it hard to move grain and sell his hay.
Had the hassle of trying to drive trucks and hauling hay through the protests, and you don't know from one day to the next which highway is going to be closed down or gravel road or whatnot. So I'm all for somebody standing up for what they believe in there, but when you got to sit in line for a half hour per truck to try to get through someplace, and it's a major inconvenience to a lot of people.
Farmers and ranchers that I've talked to say that they're concerned about free speech and the environment, but they also think the federal government must step up and make sure events like this stay safe and allow commerce. For AgweekTV, this is Mikkel Pates at Cannonball, North Dakota.
Mikkel will have much more on this story in Monday's Ag Week magazine. The sugar beet harvest is all but finished in the Red River Valley. American Crystal set records by more than 9% at 30.5 tons an acre. However, sugar content is about 17%. That's a bit lower than desired due to excess rain near the end of the season. Yields for Mindak Farmers Co-op were also a record at 32.5 tons an acre. That's 5.5 tons better than the record. Sugar content was 2% lower than normal, though. Mindak is still deciding whether to harvest the last 12% of its beets due to the anticipated record high yield. The past couple of years have been tough for many farmers, but there are a few things growers can do to ease the sting of low prices and high inputs. Jonathan Knutson met with ag economic experts at the annual NDSU Ag Lender Outlook Conference in Grand Forks.
Are you interested in ag and economics? If so, the annual NDSU Extension Ag Lender Outlook Conference is a great place to be. It's full of interesting and useful information.
Well, for 2016, it's going to turn out better than what we expected. We're really fortunate to have great yields with corn and soybeans, and we did get a bump in price, particularly with soybeans, and so that certainly helped. And so instead of having a year that may have resulted in very serious financial difficulties for a lot of farms, I think we'll get by the year okay.
When, if ever, will our crop prices rally?
Longer term, there's two likely scenarios that would play out. First would be some kind of production problem around the world. And again, recognize that we've had 3 record production years in a row. Another possibility would be some kind of political upheaval or disruption, where there's some kind of an embargo or some kind of external shock that we don't see coming. That usually is a very short-term phenomena. It typically lasts a few months.
I'm telling my customers to invest time in analyzing their operation this winter. Think long-term and short-term. You know, short-term can have consequences on the long-term. The third thing I'm telling my customers is have a marketing plan, understand their cost of production enough so that they know where their break-even is, and then put that marketing plan in place so that they can achieve a break-even or a slight profit.
Poor crop prices remain a major challenge. For profitability to return, prices will need to go higher. For Ag Week, I'm Jonathan Knutson.
NDSU repeated the event in Minot and is holding another one in Fargo this week. Coming up on AgweekTV, a type of cattle feed is growing in popularity around the region. We'll tell you about the advantages of earlage.
My name is Joel Kaler, owner-operator of Kaler Farms in Lidgerwood, North Dakota. We make a patented product called a corn stalk guide. Helps guide corn stalks into the grabs in the chains a lot smoother without losing corn. The corn stalk, when it comes off of our product, it's already on the gathering chain instead of being able to hit that idler. Our product will keep all the wear off the snout and get it to come into the head smoother without bouncing.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
The American farmer. You nurture the land, the livestock, and the future of agriculture. Nationwide and your local On Your Side Farm certified agent stand with you to help protect your farm and ranch operations. We're in this together.
I've been working with farmers and ranchers for over 30 years, and I understand the demands and risks they face. It's important for me to build a personal relationship with each and every customer. It's what I do. I'm Ray Trudeau, an elite farm certified agent, and I'm on your side.
Make the ultimate upgrade this harvest with Goodyear LSW tires. LSW improves your footprint by up to 37% and gives you the ability to carry larger loads at lower inflation pressures, reducing soil compaction for a better yield next season. LSW tires are proven to reduce road load, making sure you can run at full speed from field to field, expediting your harvest. Visit your local Graham Tire to make the switch. When you reap the benefits of LSW tires, you'll know you're in Graham country.
Earlage is gaining popularity in the region and in the U.S. It's a feed product produced only for ruminant animals. We found the Swensons near Walcott, North Dakota, harvesting it for their cattle.
Custom choppers are on a roll, taking down corn.
We do this every year for a couple weeks, but we travel quite a ways. We're from northeast South Dakota, so we got a lot of work locally, and then we travel some distance for a few jobs.
On this day, it's earlage for the Swenson Stock Farm near Walcott, North Dakota.
We normally put up a couple bags. This year we'll probably put up 3 just on the end. The corn ain't worth anything pretty much anymore, so let's see if we can try to feed it through the cattle and make up a little bit there.
Matt Swenson says they've been using earlage for a few years now.
It's a good feed product to keep the rumen going in cattle. They do very well on it. Their performance is very good.
Head of Animal Sciences at NDSU, Greg Lardy, says earlage is valuable because it contains husks, cob, and corn grain. It's similar to corn silage, but leaves the stalk and the leaves in the field. He says it works well in growing and finishing diets for beef cattle and feed for lactating dairy cows.
It's got some different nutrient characteristics than silage would, because you've got a more energy-dense crop with earlage, because you're not taking as much of the stalk and the leaf of the corn plant as you would for making corn silage, for instance.
It offers growers several advantages, including no drying costs and different methods of storage, including these silage bags.
If you're in the cattle business and want to extend that corn harvest window just a little bit and have a feed that's got some flexibility to it from how you might use it in the ration, and have something that's more energy dense than silage, it's a nice component.
Lardy recommends harvesting it between 30 and 40% moisture. He says if it's too wet, it will leak. He says a common question is how to price it.
The best recommendation I have is to really take a look at how much corn you're harvesting. So you can get an estimate based on going down and counting ears and rows and that sort of thing, get a reliable estimate of what the yield is, then base the price that you're going to pay for the earlage based on how much corn is actually in that you're going to take off.
Lardy says the disadvantage of earlage is that it can't be fed to swine or poultry. For this week's Crop Stop, Mikkel Pates takes us near Mandan, North Dakota. He found Richard Seaman, who farms with his father, Ernest. They raise wheat, corn, soybeans, peas, oats, and as Mikkel also saw on this day, sunflowers.
Shauna, Rufus, and Barnum and I are enjoying a beautiful day in Morton County, south of Mandan on an October day. And we're going to check in with a fellow out here doing some sunflower harvest. How's this season been for crop?
Excellent. Yeah, really, the wheat crop we had about an average of 50 bushel wheat. Soybeans, they were around 30 bushel. Corn that I've done so far is anywhere from 120 to 140 bushel, and the sunflowers that I'm doing now are right at anywhere from a ton to a ton and a half.
Not a great price here.
No, but with the yield, it makes a big difference though, especially on the corn. When you can start looking at 120 to 140 bushel corn, even at $3, it's still pretty good money. It's a lot better than what it has been.
While crop prices are disappointingly low, some farmers will still find some profit in 2016 because of big yields. For AgweekTV, this is Mikkel Pates at Mandan, North Dakota.
Is there more fall-like weather ahead in your agri-weather forecast? And later, cattle producers continue to struggle with tough markets. Why prices dropped so fast and what might help raise them? Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Agweek Magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Agweek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted, Agweek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
My name's Joel Kaler, owner-operator of Kaler Farms in Lidgerwood, North Dakota. We make a patented product called a cornstalk guide. Helps guide corn stalks into the grabs in the chains a lot smoother without losing corn. The corn stalk, when it comes off of our product, it's already on the gathering chain instead of being able to hit that idler. Our product will keep all the wear off the snout and get it to come into the head smoother without bouncing.
Commitment. You need it to succeed on the farm. It's total dedication to the land, family, and community. It's more than a way to make a living. It's a way of life. You've had it since the first time you ran your hands through the soil, helped bale hay, or rode along in the combine. Your commitment. It's as strong as your family's trust, as honest as each long day you put in, and as pure as the opportunity that comes with every tomorrow. It's how we build our bins. With proven design, superior structural integrity, a lifetime warranty, and a promise to stand with you, no matter what storms come your way. The harvest will always be protected, so you can sell when it's right for you, your family, and your farm. Commitment. It's why we can say, there's nothing standard about superior.
AgweekTV weather is brought to you by Kaler Farms.
It rained and rained earlier this week, especially in southeast North Dakota, very late in the fall season for any drying to happen. So it looks like many areas across North Dakota, especially the southeast part, will go into the winter season probably pretty wet. Meanwhile, no real sign of winter weather yet. In fact, I think it will continue to be mild for at least the next couple of weeks into the middle part of November and perhaps beyond. That's not to say there won't be a cold day or two here and there, but overall mild. The heavy rain in the middle of the week, look at this, 2 to 3 inches southeast corner of North Dakota up to about the Fargo area back to near Jamestown. Very heavy rainfall. Contrast that with the entire summer since April. This is the percentage of normal. The blue areas in and around the greater Grand Forks area through Grafton and northeast North Dakota. Some spots, many areas, more than 150% of normal rainfall this growing season. Except for a little narrow trend down through about Jamestown, believe it or not, most of North Dakota is within a few percentage points of being normal for the growing season. So it really has not been that wet, except from around the general Jamestown area to about Grand Forks, Grafton, and up into northeast North Dakota, where there's been an average of about 25, 26 inches of rain. Very, very wet. Interesting pattern right now. We're protected from Arctic air because of a big low up in the Bering Sea off the coast of Alaska that's helping to force a really fast jet stream across the Pacific, which basically blocks the cold air up north and keeps it from dropping southward. I look for the weather pattern this week to remain generally mild across the northern plains. Looks like the jet will have a weak split with the northern branch getting the bulk of the winds, which will keep the Arctic air locked up across the north. There'll be a few weather systems, but I think the Pacific Northwest, where that jet stream comes ashore, will likely hog a lot of the moisture across the United States. And for the next 2 weeks, we're still expecting a generally above average temperature pattern. That's not to say there won't be the occasional chilly day in November, but I think through November 12th, mostly above average. So where's the rain going to be? Well, it's going to be in the Pacific Northwest this week, that's for certain. Looks like a little dry patch over eastern Montana, maybe a narrow tongue of wet weather through the southern plains. The southeast looks like it's going to stay dry. Northern plains area, some precipitation, but not quite as heavy as this past week. The second week of the forecast, still very rainy Pacific Northwest, time of the year for that. Looks like the dry weather will circle up into the northern plains, but overall still some moisture across the Dakotas, Minnesota, northern Iowa, and places such as that. So what are we talking about as we finish the show? Early November through the middle of the month, continued mild weather due to that big low up in the Bering Sea. I am still confident there will be some cold weather this winter, just may not start for a few weeks yet.
My My name is Joel Kaler, owner-operator of Kaler Farms in Lidgerwood, North Dakota. We make a patented product called the Cornstalk Guide. Helps guide corn stalks into the grabs and the chains a lot smoother without losing corn. The corn stalk, when it comes off of our product, it's already on the gathering chain instead of being able to hit that idler. Our product will keep all the wear off the snout and get it to come into the head smoother without bouncing.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AgWeek magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AgWeek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. AgWeek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
The American Farmer. You nurture the land, the livestock, and the future of agriculture. Nationwide and your local On Your Side Farm certified agent stand with you to help protect your farm and ranch operations. We're in this together.
I've been working with farmers and ranchers for over 30 years, and I understand the demands and risks they face. It's important for me to build a personal relationship with each and every customer. It's what I do. I'm Ray Trudeau, an elite farm certified agent, and I'm on your side.
Make the ultimate upgrade this harvest with Goodyear LSW tires. LSW improves your footprint by up to 37% and gives you the ability to carry larger loads at lower inflation pressures, reducing soil compaction for a better yield next season. LSW tires are proven to reduce road load, making sure you can run at full speed from field to field, expediting your harvest. Visit your local Graham Tire to make the switch. When you reap the benefits of LSW tires, you'll know you're in Graham country.
The cattle business is in a crisis. With the drop in prices from record highs to record lows in just 2 years, this is the largest downturn in the cattle market since 1930. AgWeek's Michelle Rook talked to cattle producers about the financial stress on their operations and what it will mean for the economy.
The historical drop in cattle prices is threatening the future of the cattle industry here in South Dakota. After 40-plus years in the business, Joe Vetter of Harriet Livestock says he can't remember a cattle market ever breaking so hard.
And to lose 60% of our market in the feeder cattle is very unprecedented.
While cattle producer Myron Williams says the price drop was also fast.
Especially when you see what happened in 2014 when we got $1,700 for calves, now we're getting $750. $1,000 a head difference in 2 years is a lot.
And he says that's leaving the industry trying to pinpoint a reason.
Too many hogs, too many chickens, too much protein, cattle are bigger.
Keith Eichler blames a broken futures market, the strong dollar, and increased imports.
It's not so much about the increase in numbers in the United States as much as it's the increase of numbers coming into the United States.
Cattle prices have fallen farther and faster than anyone anticipated, and the fear is that that is already putting some cattle producers out of business.
The producers that's raising the cow-calf, those operators are going to be affected this year.
Cattle producer Chad Berger says feedlot operators have seen even more red ink.
And these guys feeding the cattle have been losing $300, $400, $500 a head feeding them, and I think that's the thing, we're going to lose a lot of our smaller farmer feeders.
And unfortunately, the price outlook doesn't show much improvement for a while. I'm Michelle Rook reporting for AgWeek.
Cattle producers say lower retail prices would increase demand and help move more beef. The Durham Triangle is shrinking and moving. Jonathan Knutson talks about the decline of Durham next.
My name is Joel Kaler, owner-operator of Kaler Farms in Lidgerwood, North Dakota. We make a patented product called the Cornstalk Guide. Helps guide corn stalks into the grabs and the chains a lot smoother without losing corn. The corn stalk, when it comes off of our product, it's already on the gathering chain instead of being able to hit that idler. Our product will keep all the wear off the snout and get it to come into the head smoother without bouncing.
Thank you.
Is this your bird? You're welcome.
We do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 5 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Commitment. You need it to succeed on the farm. It's total dedication to the land, family, and community. It's more than a way to make a living. It's a way of life. You've had it since the first time you ran your hands through the soil, helped bale hay, or rode along in the combine. Your commitment. It's as strong as your family's trust, as honest as each long day you put in, and as pure as the opportunity that comes with every tomorrow. It's how we build our bins. With proven design, superior structural integrity, a lifetime warranty, and a promise to stand with you, no matter what storms come your way. The harvest will always be protected, so you can sell when it's right for you, your family, and your farm. Commitment. It's why we can say, there's nothing standard about superior.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AgWeek Magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AgWeek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted, AgWeek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
Durham has deep roots in the upper Midwest. However, in South Dakota and Minnesota, Durham acres are almost non-existent. And in North Dakota, acreage has fallen from 4 million acres in the 70s to 1.3 million today. Jonathan Knutson reflects on the decline of Durham in this week's commentary.
I cover many crops and like them all, but Durham, used to make pasta, is one of my favorites. We raised it on my family farm growing up, and I still enjoy seeing it in fields. But I don't see it very often anymore. Once, Durham was found across most of the region, but today it's found almost only in western North Dakota and eastern Montana. The climate there works against scab, a terrible crop disease that can devastate Durham. But this year, for the first time, scab was a huge problem there too. Many remaining Durham farmers wonder, has the crop become too risky to grow? There's good reason to think the answer is yes. Durham may not be doomed, but it's definitely on the downswing. I'll continue to write about Durham, but following the crop now is like watching an old friend fade away. For AgWeek, I'm Jonathan Knutson.
Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. We appreciate having you along. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. We'll see you next week.